Mm, Start recording. Uh, Record on this computer. Okay, welcome everybody. So, we will talk about a what is a dosha based diet plan. So, from the previous classes, you would have understood what dosha is. So there are two things we need to understand about dosha. So the seed with which you are born, the balance of the five elements, earth, water, fire, air, ether, that you have, so that is called as your prakriti. Okay. So prakriti is all about karma because you do not control your birth. Correct. So that's totally karma. So it's the karmic aspect. So when the karmic aspect comes in, what is in your hand is to understand what is your balance, imbalance, and what is your imbalance right now that you have created. So in Ayurveda, what happens is that your prakriti, to what degree you are kapha, pitta, or vata. Usually, we see children are born with a certain strength, weakness, and that to understand that at a young age is very important. For example, some children we see they have a lot of allergies, digestive issues, weaknesses as soon as they are born, um, or some kids have good health when they are born, no issues at all. So there is a contrast. We see that there is a contrast we find in what you have and what you can become. Okay. So in the our discussions, we discuss a point that uh, that uh, janmanam jayate shudra samskarat bhaved vijah. Hmm? So basically, what that means is we are born with a crude set of habits, also, right? So, children, some of them have a good nature, some of them have a good, uh, what do you call, learning capacity and all that things. And then we have chances of cultivating good or bad habits. Okay, that is called sadvrata. Cultivation, the ability to cultivate good habits. Okay, so this is in our hands. Now, what is happening is that you're born with a certain prakriti and you have a certain vikriti, means certain imbalance, certain amount of imbalance. Okay. Now, what happens is with your cultivation of good or bad habits, you cultivate that good or bad habits, mm, and that becomes your nature. And that over a period of time, it builds up. Now, some, uh, let's take one of my cousins. Somebody threw a rubber snake on him when he was a little kid. rubber snake. It was a rubber snake, but that rubber snake, it created in him such a fear, a shock at that point of time, that that he was completely in a state of shock. Hmm? He was completely in a state of shock. He started getting fits. What do you call that? Fits. Your body is trembling. Your body is shaking. It did not go for the rest of his life. Okay? It did not go for the rest of his life. So he was literally having that fear psychosis for the rest of his life. Now, that is a mental injury, right? And that becomes a vikriti, right? So it's not just about uh, physically eating the wrong food, but it's also about the wrong habits or some kind of shock that enters the system, and that which could lead to um, some kind of habits. mm, just like every college going student or school going student is exposed to, what is he exposed to? He is exposed to yoga, meditation, spirituality. Correct? No. What is a college student exposed to? A college student is basically exposed to,
What they are not supposed to be
uh, yeah, like things that can be addictive, right? Alcohol. Today, vaping is common. Another very bad habit we cultivate is coffee, right? Or something like that, or which can be very detrimental. Mm. Although if you read everywhere, other day I met a kidney specialist, one of my good friends, and I was asking him about coffee, his opinion on coffee, and he said there is no evidence-based answer for that. Mm. Now, what would you say? Mm. So basically, if you uh, look at it, Vikriti is when you cultivate a set of bad habits, okay? Bad activities also, because ahara or food is not just your diet, okay? It's also your activities as well. So if your activities are spiritual, then your body, mind, skin, your eyes, your ears, they they absorb that. Hmm? They absorb those and then they cultivate certain habits and certain imbalances. Okay, now I'm going to open up some evidence points from my paper, from my PhD thesis. So, what I am proposing in this, in my thesis, let's go. So basically, when I introduce, so basically, first you have to understand that there is three things in Ayurveda you should know. So one is dosha, that is your kapha, pitta, vata, the balance or imbalance in earth, water, fire, air, ether. But the other important aspect is agni or digestive fire. So you can have Jatharagni, the main digestive fire, and three types of fire: Samagni, Vishamagni, Tikshnagni, or Mandagni. So, Samagni is the balanced digestive fire. Vishamagni, so if you are irregular, if you are irregular, if you eat at random times, if you sleep at random times, if your activities are random, then you develop Vishamagni. If you are too intense, very passionate, over desirous, see, all of them include the activities of the mind. Too intense, too hyper, then you develop Tikshnagni, unlimited desire, fire. Too slow, too lazy, not enough exercise, then you develop slow digestive fire. So, what this does, so when you have an imbalanced fire, imbalanced routine, then you develop what is called as Vikriti. So, basically, what happens is because of weak metabolism, whatever is not digested becomes your visceral fat accumulation. So, once your belly starts to develop visceral fat accumulation, then it slows down your whole digestion in such a way that from then on, whatever you eat, a part of your food will become toxins. So it needs a seed. So that is why in Ayurveda, detoxification process. So detoxification process is to remove as much toxin as possible, and then your routine and lifestyle should keep eliminating those toxins so that they don't build up. Okay. So uh, I spoke about the 6 stages of disease in my previous classes. We want to go more into the diet. So this one I'm just brushing up. Okay. So what happens is, for example, let's go over pre-diabetes, how you develop. So you keep overeating, unbalanced cycle. Then what happens? Kapha and adipose tissue, meda, uh, they build up. So sedentary habits, excessive sleep, aggravating imbalanced food, so they develop in your lower abdomen. Okay. Now, what happens is, as the fat builds up, as your digestive fire becomes weaker, so understand the cycle, you develop what is called as ama, toxin. So the food becomes undigestible. So imagine many people try fasting once their belly becomes too big. It doesn't work because your digestive fire is down. So no matter, even if you fast, your body cannot pull the waste fat. Mhm. So then that fat keeps building on each other and creates a systematic metabolic imbalance leading to high insulin resistance. Means anytime you eat now, you develop that imbalance. And it aggravates your fat even further. So what happens? That fat spreads over all the different organs. It covers all your different organs. So from one point where it builds up, then it gradually covers. It's just like Maya, just that she covers. So you cover, it covers everywhere, and all the organs lose. They begin to attack their own body. So that is called, when your organs become covered with poison, they are not able to get the right impulses. Okay. So therefore, uh, it is very important to separate the toxins from the body. Okay. You have to separate the toxins from their source. And that is the first step in imbalance, is to, you have to loosen the toxins, because the toxins are firmly sitting. There is no ojas. So you have to improve the ojas. You have to loosen the toxins. And once you loosen the toxins, and so these are all the, in my thesis, what I have written. So, and then throw it out. Once you throw it out, what do? You eat foods that improve your digestive fire only. Okay. Once you clean your body, you should not indulge in eating foods that shut down your fire again. That's where dosha based diet comes in. Okay, that is where dosha based diet comes in. So, before you get to the dosha based diet, why I took you through that rabbit hole is to make you understand that you can start balancing your diet, but you have to eliminate the accumulated toxins. So, that's your first step. And once you remove your accumulated toxins, post that when you eat good food, healthy food, you will be able to digest it well. At the same time, you should ensure that you do not repeat the mistakes that you led to it. What are those mistakes called? Anybody remembers from the previous episodes? What are those mistakes called? You would like to put in the chat, or anybody would like to remember? It's called Pradnya Aparad. Remember? Right? For example, we say something, don't overeat, but it doesn't register. Right? So whenever you have good food, your control slips and your intelligence doesn't say, hey, stop. You can't eat more. It's not good for you. Has your body told you that? If you are aware, yes. If you are not aware, the body doesn't say stop. Right?
Hmm.
You just keep going. And in fact, in our culture, we basically encourage, right? It's okay, it's festival. It's okay when you feel like eating, eat it, eat it. But that's not how it is. So that is why I read a beautiful quote: motivation. In the beginning, you need motivation, and then you need discipline. Mhm. It's all about discipline. Discipline means what? Somebody was defining discipline. There are a lot of good uh, points about discipline, but the most important one I liked was to do the same boring things again. Keep doing the boring things, right, to the point that it becomes your routine. Okay. All right, so now going to dosha based diet, here's the important point. Okay, now let's revive or remember, try to remember what is the qualities of kapha, pitta, and vata. Okay, let's begin with kapha. Anybody remembers what are the qualities of kapha? Can
Um,
unmute. Hmm?
uh, Kapha are basically it relates to the bodily structure, so stamina, strong build, and steadiness, patience, those kind of qualities.
Correct. So those are the external qualities. But kapha in itself, in food, okay.
Hmm.
So kapha means that which is uh, cold. Okay. For
Hmm.
example, you eat a cold ice cream. Okay, that builds up mucus,
Hmm.
builds up cough, right? We say cough, kapha, right? In Hindi, we say kapha. So cold, moist, okay, cold, moist, heavy, okay, slowly moving, okay. So these are all qualities of kapha, okay. So this quality you should understand. Mm. And when you have cough, when you have mucus, for example, excess cough, excess fat, even if you have cold, let's say one example. Second example is excess fat, excess mucus, excess fat. What do you do? What are the tastes that you use?
The taste you use to sort of to deal with excess fat, you're asking?
Excess carb, yeah.
Spice?
Spices, right?
Yeah.
Ginger, right?
Ginger.
Cinnamon,
Um, yeah, yeah, like warming.
warming, correct, warming. Hmm? Because kapha is cold, remember?
Hmm.
Like winter is kapha vata season. Okay? So winter is kapha vata season. So um, in winter, you cannot take cold foods, correct? It further makes you cold. So kapha vata is already cold. So you have to balance it. You have to have hot foods, right? Hot water, right? Like people drinking hot coke, cold coke or freezing coke drink in winter. I mean, it looks odd, right? So in winter, you want something heating to heat up your body, right? You don't want to aggravate it further. So similarly, what's the qualities of pitta? Heat, blood. So if you get some blood, what is it? It's warm, right? Pitta is warm, flowing, flowing, wet, okay, and fast moving. Tikshna. Kapha is slow moving. It's your structure, right? It's pitta is like blood needs to flow fast to give you energy. Blood cannot flow slow. So pitta, okay. So similarly, you can figure out vata. So vata is like cold air, dry air. Okay. So dry air. So dry air is dry, cold, and uh, it's light. Kapha is heavy. Okay. Vata is light. If you have too much air, too much vata in your body, then it makes you very light. I had this feeling when I had very high vata, especially when living in New Vrindavan. Premanand Prabhu is there. But very cold. Maybe New York, maybe winter, very cold. And if you are lean and if you don't keep yourself warm enough, if you are traveling a lot, then you develop Vishamagni, you get Vata. So Vata means your air goes high, dry. Okay. So dry. So drying. So Vata is very drying, light, fast moving. Those who are very lean, Vata mentality, they are very fast in their thought process, very fast in their thinking, right? They are very fast. So they are um, not slow. So they are fast. So you have to be fast in Vata. So what happens is you need some amount of like Vata, you need for mobility in your body. Kapha, you need for stability. Pitta, you need for your transformation, your energy transformation, your digestion in the body. And Vata, you need for mobility. Okay? So now, when Kapha, Pitta, and Vata, okay? So when they are balanced, they are fine. Okay, you have good mobility, you have good digestion, and you have good structure, strength. Now, when they are imbalanced, say for example, vata is imbalanced. So if you have high vata, so what does it do to your body? So when you have high vata, so you are very dry. Okay, you are very dry, you are very light, always hungry, randomly hungry, suddenly you get hungry. So all these symptoms begin to pop up. So you have to examine yourself and see what character is getting imbalanced or getting blown up. Okay? So that is in vata imbalance. So kapha, pitta imbalance. So your pitta is very high. What happens? You get acidity, high acidity, heat. Hmm? So, for example, if I'm already pitta and I eat spicy food on top of that, so then my pitta is more aggravated. Okay? Or, for example, by nature, if you are pitta, that's a different thing. So, by nature, if you are very lean, vata, and everything, or by nature, if you are pitta, medium structure with heavy heat, or if you are kapha, like huge structure, slow, so you have to identify yourself, where am I and what is my level of digestion, because not everything, like, no, you are not 100% kapha. Certain aspects of you will be kapha, certain aspects of you will be pitta, certain aspects of you will be vata. So kapha, pitta and vata. Okay. So you have to balance or imbalance it. You have to balance the imbalanced aspect. That's what I was trying to say. So the so you have to identify what you are prone to. So if your body type is where vata can be aggravated quickly, then you have to avoid vata aggravating foods. If your body type is such that you could have pitta imbalance, then you avoid pitta imbalancing food. So if you are already high heat, for example, you avoid too much ginger, cinnamon, that can aggravate the heat. If you are kapha, if you are already heavy, if you are already bulky, right, you avoid more heavy foods. Okay. So heavy foods means heavy grains, for example, wheat, rice. So these are all heavy grains. So you eat more lighter foods. So if you are vata, you need to balance it out because your digestion is also weak. So although you want kapha foods, but your digestion is also weak. So you want to slowly eat foods that will build up your kapha. Hmm? So for vata, you have to balance it with kapha. For pitta, you have to balance it with pitta. So that's how it works in Ayurveda. So let's see an example. So let me open up a sheet. Uh, Excel. Okay, one moment. Let me open that up. So it took me like a year to make this, but okay, here you go. Now, for example, if your body is kapha, sorry, let's start with vata. So if you're vata, if you're very lean, very light, so you should use sweet, sour, or salty taste. Means you should not eat too much bitter, pungent, or astringent. Okay? So you should eat only these three tastes and you should avoid these tastes. Okay? Because what happens? You become further vata. Your vata aggravates further. What kind of foods aggravate vata? For example, corn, maize, wheat, bread, barley, buckwheat, rye, raw oats, wheat, rice. So they all aggravate vata. Means they, if you are having vata imbalance, they imbalance you further. What should you eat? Oats, ragi, cooked oats, quinoa, sorghum, bajra, like that. Okay. Because vata, the digestive capacity is very weak. So you cannot put heavy foods. You want to build kapha, but you want to at the same time eat foods which can be easily digestible. For example, heavy proteins such as Bengal gram, peas, red kidney, beans, horse gram. The vata people cannot have that. Okay. So instead, what you should have green gram, for example, yellow moong dal, urad dal. So these are all good. So among vegetables, for example, Vata people should avoid gassy vegetables like cauliflower, cabbage, raw vegetables completely avoid. Potato, Brussels sprouts. Okay. What you should have? Carrot, beetroot, sweet potato, green beans, which are easily digestible. Okra is especially good. Okay. Now, another thing is if you look at Vata, dry fruits, raw apple, raw pear, sour melons. So anything that is unripe, anything that is very dry, sour, that aggravates Vata, that makes you further dry. For example, if you have nuts without soaking it, it makes you even more dry. Okay, so you should have foods that will keep you, that will balance the dryness. So berries, grapes, citrus fruits, papaya, peaches, that way. Then you look at uh, so you avoid basically heavy yogurt for Vata. Everything else, ghee is good for everybody. Then spices, actually all spices work for Vata. Okay, for Pitta, the spices, if you are having heat problems, so then you avoid ginger, chili, mustard, and you have um, you avoid yogurt, aged, salty, things like that. But uh, basically, if you have Pitta, you use sweet taste, bitter taste because they reduce Pitta, astringent taste, they balance Pitta. But if you take sour, it aggravates Pitta. If you take pungent, salty, they aggravate Pitta. So too much salt is also Pitta aggravation. Now Pitta is also aggravated with corn, millet. Millet is very heating, for example. So millet, although good for Vata and Kapha, it's not good for Pitta. Ragi, wheat, rice, they aggravate Pitta. So barley, oats, quinoa, sorghum, they are very good. Say green gram works for all three doshas. Green gram, split red gram, black gram, okay, mung beans, red lentils, French lentils, they all work. Horse gram works for pitta kapha except vata. Okay. Now, for example, for pitta, you avoid uh, too much sour. You see, all the sours, berries. If you have too much heat, berries add to the heat. Orange, sour orange, any sour fruits, cranberries, they add to the heat. Okay. So avocado, guava, papaya, sweet pomegranate, kiwi, coconut, they're all good for pitta. Now in pitta, the only spices you avoid, actually spices is very easy. For vata, all spices are fine. For pitta, you avoid dry ginger, chili and mustard. And for kapha, you try not to have, you can have all spices. Salt you reduce in kapha. And also for pitta, lassi is very good. Okay. So basically, in kapha, you avoid the heavy banana, avocado, grapes, whereas you have light ones, pear, cherries, prunes, apricots. Again, if you see, rice is kind of, whenever you have an imbalance, so rice is not something you should have until and unless you are working physically hard. Wheat and rice should be minimized in any diet. Okay. Wheat and rice in any diet should be minimized. Okay. You can have barley. If you are pitta only, avoid millet. Otherwise, millets are very good. And buckwheat, except for vata. Ragi, sorghum, jowar, pearl millet, that way. Now, For kapha, most vegetables are okay except those which are root vegetables. They cause a lot of heaviness. You are already heavy. Root vegetables, potato. Basically, potato is not good for any dosha. Eggplant, soy. If you look at it, cabbage, uh, capsicum, spinach, lady's finger, green beans. Have I written it twice here? Lettuce, plantains. Plantains are very good for all doshas. Mm. Butternut squash, broccolini, watercress, turnip greens. But I don't think we use all or most of it. Most of them are seasonal. Mm. And we have to. So basically, you balance vata with heavier taste, sweet, sour, salty. You avoid very light taste, bitter, pungent, astringent. Pitta, again, you use sweet, bitter, astringent, and avoid sour, pungent, salty. Kapha, you use bitter, astringent, and pungent, and avoid for kapha heavy ones, sweet, sour, salty. Okay, sweet, sour, salty, avoided for kapha, included for vata, because you need heavy foods. So pitta, you avoid sour, pungent, salty. Okay, you include the other three tastes of foods. But when you have some chronic illness, then you have to look at which will cause the spike. So these are general guidelines. So then you have to go more specific into the what your body feels when you eat a certain type of food. For example, if you are diabetic, then although oats is beneficial for vata, yet oats can cause, regularly consuming a lot of oats can cause rise in sugar. So you can have it limited. Okay. Quinoa, bajra, they are all beneficial. Okay. Even if you are diabetic. Now, corn, for example, is heavy in sugar, not, not so beneficial. Although for diabetes, for example, it also recommends corn flour. But corn in general is very high in sugar. So what it does is it can cause, sugar can cause a lot of imbalance. Sugar can cause muscle loss. High sugar in the body can. So those things which are heavier to digest, you avoid in vata and kapha as well. Only pitta can, if you have strong digestion, then you can eat all or many of those things. Now, green gram yellow mung dal is considered the most sattvic, the best. Yellow lentils, red lentils. Okay, azuki beans. Okay. So, uh, you need plenty of sprouts and gram in your diet, and vegetables, fruits, like that. But fruit should be taken mainly in the morning. And if you look at one thing very important is raw apple is not considered very good in Ayurveda. Cooked apple is good. So raw fruits are okay in certain times, but a lot of fruits can cause buildup of cough. So that is why cooked apples, for example, apples are so easily available and we get them regularly, but apple sauce is considered more beneficial for the body than just eating the apple for two doshas. Hmm? So that's why. All right. So any questions so far? I'm not watching the chat. Let me look. All right. No questions here. So any questions so far on this?
In the kapha, you said to avoid avocado. I thought that kind of goes well with all those three. doshas.
Could you repeat that? I couldn't.
I said in the kapha, things to avoid, you added avocado,
Right,
right?
right. So that is if you are very overweight. Hmm? See, the point is if you are doing an intermittent fast like you do and you're
Hmm.
not eating in between, then avocado is fine.
Okay.
But what happens is if your diet in general is very, very heavy, hmm? So if your diet is very heavy, if you're eating heavy foods in general, then avocado on top of it, then it becomes heavy.
Hmm.
But if you're eating kapha balanced food, means your food is very balanced. You're not overeating the quantity, you are balancing it with the spices. Okay?
Hmm.
You're having ginger, you're digesting it very well, you're not overeating, you're eating just one big lunch, then it's fine. Hmm? So then it's fine. So uh, if you if you look at it, then that is in a balanced diet. Even if something is forbidden in a little quantity, it won't imbalance you so much. But if you are in such a way that any little kapha imbalance will imbalance you, then you should strictly avoid that. If you are like in a very heavyweight stage and kapha is already a little aggravated, hmm? So you have to look at your situation. So if you are, say, if you are, you easily gain weight, but you have controlled it, you eat well, you are completely controlled, then avocado once in a while, because avocado in general is healthy.
Hmm.
But if you are overweight, it can add fat quickly. But if you are doing a kapha balancing diet, then it won't affect you so negatively. Okay? Makes sense?
Okay.
Okay. All right. Any other questions? Comments?
Will you
Was
be sharing
this,
this chart?
what is it?
Will you be sharing this chart?
Chart, part of it, because this is for my clients mostly. But there is another PDF which I have with general guidelines. So I'll definitely share that one. Hmm? Yeah. How much ghee can we have daily? Is it better to cook it or is it okay to add it in the food just like it is? So I recommend generally between 6 to 8 spoons of ghee every day. And it's very beneficial. Nobody takes raw ghee except unless prescribed. It's usually added to the food. Generally, at the end, once your cooking is done, just when you're about to put it on the plate hot, you add 2 or 3 spoons of ghee. Ghee is one food which is beneficial for all doshas
Hmm.
and it all the dhatus as well. Okay, especially ghee like Brahmi ghee, ashwagandha, their effect is very, very good. Hmm? Um, does ghee affect? Yes, the ghee affects positively on the cholesterol if you eat regularly. In my paper, can you see my paper here? Let me show you. Uh, Shodhana Krama. Okay. Now they did the Virechana therapy. You also did the Virechana therapy. After doing that, they found in Virechana, it balances like taking ghee for 7 days so much. It improves electrolyte balance, gut microbiota, cleans the shrotas and everything. Now, even if they didn't do Virechana, but before that they did an experiment or a thesis study on Snehana, lubrication. So 29 volunteers were given ghee every day. And what they found was that their triglycerides and VLDL came down and their good cholesterol HDL-C went up. So ghee has a positive effect. So ghee has a very, very positive effect on the cholesterol levels. It really improves the cholesterol levels. So you have to be very, very careful in balancing out the cholesterol. So ghee actually helps you maintain, even if you take extra, your good cholesterol goes up, bad cholesterol comes down. Ghee also gives you ojas, so it is the easiest source of ojas. There is, I think, one research which I had quoted here. I think it comes later on, in which there it is explained very clearly that this was in Africa, in some Muslim country. There, one Muhammad Al Farhan, he did an experiment. He gave mustard oil and he gave coconut oil. He gave three, four types of oil to four or five groups, and one group he gave ghee. Okay. Now the ghee group had the best cholesterol levels, the ghee group, compared to all the other oils, and that I have quoted in my paper. Why ghee is better? Cultured butter, yes. So teaspoon, yeah, I meant teaspoon. So cultured butter is the best ghee. Okay, not normal ghee is fine, but cultured is better, even better. Hmm. So cultured ghee gives you far better quality of ghee, and it helps you surround the heart with good cholesterol and also insulate your body. Hmm. So it will definitely help that way. All right. Any other comments, questions? Okay. How many of you got an idea about the balancing diet? Can we see? Okay.
Somewhat.
Somewhat. Yes. It takes a
Yeah,
little
because
bit.
I still don't know after those dosha questions, I still don't know
What
what
is the?
my
Yeah, yeah. That we will
what
send
my
you the
major
email.
dosha
Yeah.
is. So
Correct. Correct. But at least you got the idea, right? How the dosha balancing diet works. So um, I'll send everybody a PDF, okay, for reference. That actually is uh, Mr. Vasant Lad. He had compiled, okay. So he had compiled that balancing based on the doshas, okay. So what I can do is this week I'll bring everything to a close. I've uploaded the certificate. If you have completed, you will get the certificate if it is all complete 100%. So I have to just get that going. When we detox the body, can you eat regular food and ghee? Yes. So regular food means you should not eat apatya ahara. So in Ayurveda, it's called pathya and apatya. So pathya means that which suits you. Apatya means that which does not suit you. Okay. If you have viruddha ahara, for example, you eat fruit and you eat rice dal, you can't do that. If you're having fruits, you eat fruits and then give some time and then eat cooked food. Second is when you detox the body, you literally have light foods like khichdi and things like that. Okay. You have khichdi, you have light detoxing diet, but you can have plenty of khichdi with ghee. Okay. But you cannot have very spicy foods and everything when you are trying to detox, because that will do the opposite of what it is meant to do. Okay. So when you detox, you have to be under guidance and you have to take very light diet. So one of the best ways in Ayurveda to have a balancing diet is to eat minimum, which is food which is easily digestible. That's the first thing you have to think of always. Okay. Heavy foods like fried puris or like rice dal, breads, wheat. So these are all very heavy. These should be had in very low quantity, and that too not every day of the week. One should set aside one day in a week for a therapeutic fast. If you can't fast one day in a week, it is going to be very difficult. Okay? It it you need to have 1 day in a week, you need to have a voluntary, either you should skip, you should just have one meal or just have fruits. But 1 day fast in a week will balance even if you have overeaten rest of the week. Hmm? Second thing, remember, no matter how healthy you eat, but if you eat at the wrong time, for example, if you eat heavy food at dinner, no matter how healthy you eat, it doesn't matter. Okay? So it becomes antimatter. It doesn't matter. Okay? It doesn't digest well. Okay? So you should eat at the right time. So aim for a good lunch in a day. That should be your goal. Hmm? If you aim for a good lunch on a regular basis, then you will see that you will, day in and day out, you can be pretty balanced. Okay? So that's the thing. Yeah, go ahead.
So I'm I'm probably going to be starting work maybe in a month or so, and I'm most likely I won't be able to take a large meal during lunch. So I'm wondering if it will be better to take a bit of a larger breakfast instead and maybe just have a snack during lunchtime. So that way in the evening, I don't feel like I need to eat a lot. If
That's
it's better
also
to take it.
possible. That's also possible. See, evening up to 5, if you can have your large meal, you're fine. I met
Okay.
one person here. He used to work in, he told me when I first came to Las Vegas, I met this guy. And he used to work as like cashier or something in Treasure Island. There's a hotel here. So he told me that he had that routine for like 15 years, 20 years here. So he'll come back home he'll leave home by 6:37, 8 o'clock, whatever. Come back by 3:30, have his lunch by 4. That's it. That's the only meal he would have.
Hmm.
But he was pretty healthy. So by 5 is the maximum time. Even if you are not having lunch, but if you have that one meal by that time. Hmm?
Okay.
But beyond that, gets into the dinner area, heavy dinner area.
Okay.
Hmm?
So if I couldn't, if I'm not getting home from work, say if I'm getting home from work right at 5, and I can't really prepare and I won't eat until 6, it might be better to have a bit of a larger breakfast
Yeah.
and then.
Then you have
Okay.
the whole day to digest.
Okay.
So you have to do it in such a way that you have the exercise, then the breakfast, then eat, and then, hmm? Right?
Okay.
All right. Are eggs light or heavy food? Eggs are heavy, actually speaking. They are not light. They are not sattvic, but they are good in protein. But Ayurveda prescribes them. If you are having that, then you should not. Then the only thing else you should avoid all other grains. So you should have it at lunch. So if you have that, just have vegetables along with it. Okay. If you have grains and that, it becomes too heavy. You can't digest it. Secondly, the way you make it is also very important. It is not sattvic, it's a kind of rajasic, a little bit on the tamasic side. So it can get very heavy on your digestion. So it should be had with plenty of ginger, black pepper, all these things. Okay. And if you are having that, then you should not have grains. Hmm? Is foxtail millet khichdi recommended for pitta digestion, especially for digestion with vata constitution? As told, they are pitta. Yeah, foxtail millet for, if you are a pitta individual, you should overcook it, means it should be watery, and you should have ghee. If you have plain ghee with it will balance out the heat. Okay? So the millet, the only thing you have to be careful with is that it should not be, it should be well cooked, overcooked. It should be well cooked and soft. Okay, so that is very important. If that is well cooked and soft, then you are fine. When added it with ghee, because ghee reduces the heat. If you have it without the ghee, then it kind of heats you up. So ghee kind of balances out the heat. Can I take ghee and tea before sleeping? Yes, you can. Hmm? That's a good idea. Milk with ghee is the best tonic for a good sleep, but that is full fat milk. Buckwheat. Buckwheat is good. I mentioned that. Buckwheat is only not good for vata. Those who are having vata, like if you are very light and imbalanced, then it's not good. But otherwise, buckwheat is fine. Buckwheat you can have for pitta and kapha individuals, it's fine. Hmm? Yeah. But again, buckwheat one should eat in moderation. Buckwheat should never be overeaten. It's a bit heavy. Okay. All right. Very good. Lot of good questions over there. Rakesh ji just joined. We are about to wind up, but I'll share the recording. Thanks for joining.
Yeah, sorry, Babu. I just saw this. I got late. Just came
Yeah.
back from temple, so I got
Yeah,
late.
yeah. Okay, no problem. So we'll have another session soon. But okay. Uh, good. Okay. All right. So once again, our coupon code is valid. AYU11 still valid. So please, if you like to have some ghee from the website, please do. It can balance the khichdi. Of course, you are in Italy, so to ship to Italy will be tough. Not Karachi. But if you are in the US mainland, please, you can order the ghee. Okay. All right. So we'll wind up for today. Just we are about the hour mark. Wonderful. And next week, I'll be starting a yoga program. The first few days will be free. Then I'll be starting the yoga membership. Okay. It's a very unique program. I'll have all the lessons. The way it will go is I'll have all the lessons recorded. But 3 days a week, I'll open a yoga room like this Zoom, and we'll have do different types of yoga. Ashtanga, we will do meditation, chakra meditation, mantra meditation. So different things. So they will be recorded. They will be available in the membership program, and then we'll have these. So first few days, I'm doing it for free so that you get an idea of how it works, and then you can join. So it'll start next weekend. Okay, and I'll keep you all posted. So this is going to be very interesting because then you can practice at your own time, and also 3 days a week you can practice together. Okay, so let's see. So I'm very excited how it will come across, and we'll start it next week. Yeah. Okay. All right then. And thank you all so much. So I knew Sunday everyone is busy, but weekends people become more busy. Weekdays we have bigger crowds. So that's the thing. So we'll announce more of these programs. It will be a part of your yoga regular membership there. And my thesis is coming out soon. Can you say something about jaggery? Yeah, okay, sugar. So basically, when you are young, jaggery is very good in the sense that it builds up. It's a kapha builder, so it's good for building up kapha, building up muscles and everything. But every sugar should be taken in moderation, because even if you are a normal healthy individual, you until and unless you are very balanced samadosha, sugar is always you should consume in moderation. Okay. Now jaggery is one of the good sugars, but apart from that, all the other sugars are not very good. Molasses is considered okay, but others there is a lot of like cane sugar and all that. So they are very high. They are spiky. They spike your insulin levels, sugar levels. So if you are diabetic, definitely no. If you are diabetic, try to avoid all sugars. Okay, there's no point in taking risk. If you can avoid sweets, best. If not, in moderation, maple syrup is the best. In the US side, maple syrup not much common in India, then jaggery is okay, organic only. Okay, but apart from that, most of this, even this, all the other sugars, monk fruit, this, that, they are they highly spike the or whatever they may say. It is sugar is sugar. Okay, so it's not stevia, all that. They are all extracts and they are very concentrated. So they are not very highly recommended. Okay. All right. What should be the sugar level to lose weight? To lose weight, one of the easiest thing is don't have dinner. Okay. And sugar level, in the sense that if you want to lose weight, then don't have sugar for the time being. Sugar, wheat, rice, because sugar means it builds up. It's fat. It's heavy. Sugar is heavy. Okay. So sugar builds up that heaviness, that weight. Okay. So try to be light, avoid that. You can have alternate tastes like cinnamon, all those drinks. You can add other spices to make it tasty instead of having to have sugar. Even if you want to have sugar in terms of losing weight, have light maple syrup. That is still considered beneficial. Okay. Okay. All right. That was really wonderful. And thank you all for joining. And look out for the um, announcements coming soon. And we will. Um, uh, it will be on the same website, yoginatraj.com. The yoga module will be ready by Wednesday or Thursday when I'll make the announcement. Okay. All right then. Thank you all so much.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Thank you so much, Prabhu.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Thank you
it.
so much. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thanks.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.